Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Depends on which country you're logging in. Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which country you log in from. Welcome to the second Global Hindu Teens Conference. This is the second in succession from Shiva Vishnu Temple, Livermore, California. Welcome you all to this wonderful day, and you're going to enjoy today. The conference is from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sorry for a little bit of delay. And so the agenda for today's meeting is we will start with Priest Ashirvachanam, followed by chairman speech, followed by the speakers. You're going to listen to wonderful speakers today from different parts of the country as well as from India, and followed by the judging process, how the judging is done, what is the criteria we use. So I'm going to talk about it, and then followed by the announcement of the winners. Selected videos will be played after that, followed by vote of thanks and conclusion. And please do enjoy the lunch after that, whoever is in the temple today from the Bay Area. So again, welcome you all. Now with this, I will hand over the reins to Mr. Anand Gandu, who will be taking over, and he will be doing the MC for today's event. Thank you very much. Welcome you all. Anand Garu. Sorry, I could not join in person today because I was affected by some sickness.
That was Manoharji. Thank you so much. We have the priest here from the Livermore Temple, and they would perform the Ashirvachanam for all of you all. So please take the blessings from the Livermore Temple. Thank you.
Harihi Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यसेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्योरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 शन्नो मित्रः संवरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं भविष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 शन्नो मित्रः संवरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मवादिशं ऋतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत् तद्वक्तारमावीत् आवीन्माम् आवीद्वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 शन्नो देवीरभिष्टया आपो भवन्तु वीतये संयोरभिस्रवन्तु नः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सर्वेभ्यः श्री भूनीला समेत श्री श्रीनिवासस्वामिनः कृपाकटाक्षवीक्षणा फलसिद्धिरस्तु। सर्वेभ्यः परिपूर्णता सिद्धिरस्तु। ऑल द बेस्ट। ओम हृद्यास्म हव्यैर्नमसो वसद्य मित्रं देवं मित्रधेयं नोऽस्तु अनुराधान् हविषा वर्धयन्तः शतं जीवेम शरदः सवीराः शतमानं भवति शतायुः पुरुषः शतेन्द्रिय आयुष्येवेन्द्रिये प्रतिष्ठति।
धान्यं धनं पशुं बहुपुत्रलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः सत्या सन्तो यजमानस्य कामा।
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks to Pandit Bhattarji and Pandit Mahat Patraji for the beautiful Ashirvachanam. I hope this will kick off our meeting with wonderful vibrations that we always have at the temple. Now it's my turn to introduce the chairman of HCCC, Hindu Community and Cultural Center, which is also called as the Livermore Temple, Venu Surakanti ji, to address the audience. Venu ji, please take over.
Good morning. Namaskaram to all. My name is Venu Surakanti. I'm the chairman for Hindu Community and Cultural Center, also known as Livermore Temple. To all the participants who are watching across the world, across the globe online, welcome to the second Global Hindu Teens Conference. This is one of the major event for the youth and education wing of our organization. So today we are participating. Basically for Hindu Community and Cultural Center, it has there's a need to reach out to each and every youth across the globe to make them aware of the Hindu culture and the epics, the whole values, culture, our temples, the architecture. So as part of this vision, our committee chair, Manohar Mahawadi, has carried this vision of the organization and organized this Global Teens Conference. I welcome all the participants who have registered and submitted their all the applications. And also I would like to invite the two speakers. We have very good keynote speakers this morning, so please join and enjoy their speech and learn about the Hindu culture. So thank you very much all.
Thank you, Venuji, for the wonderful welcome speech. As matter and mind, he's a member of Indian Prime Minister's Science and Technology Innovation Advisory Council, PM STIAC, since 2018. We now welcome Subhashji to basically give his wonderful speech. Thank you, Subhashji. We are waiting for Subhashji to join the Zoom. So in the meantime, Venuji, you want to say something?
So actually, looks like this is a very morning for many of the folks back in US. So, but the participants are across the globe, as I said, like in the countries India, Australia, and other parts of the world. So it is very interesting that we were able to reach out to the youth across the globe and get them participate in the Global Teens Conference. And also we had like 5 topics that we put together this for this conference, which spans across the culture, values, temples, epics of Hindu and also Sanatana Dharma. So unlike the last time we had a single topic, so we kind of expanded the scope and tried to get more participation. So it is very heart welcoming to see all the participants coming and submitting it. So I am very thankful to Manoharji on this to take this vision. As I said earlier, so as the keynote speakers would come in and give their address, so who have agreed to come and speak for on this occasion.
Thank you, Subhashji.
Teens Conference. So we are all waiting to hear from Subhash Kakji. Along with Subhash Kakji, we also have Sri Ayerji, who would also be talking. Okay. Also Anand Kashi Bhatla garu.
I think while we are trying to sort out the technical difficulties, just wanted to give a little bit update on the HCCC. As you all know, Hindu Community and Cultural Center, Livermore Temple, is located in California. It's one of the most authentic temples in the entire Northern California. And we are very grateful for the founders of the temple to have provided this 12-acre property here in California. In case you are planning to visit California, do come to Livermore Temple, which is a great location and a landmark. Even in the city of Livermore, it is shown as one of the iconic centers of California. So request all of you all, if you are around in Bay Area and in California, please do come visit us. And like as Venuji said, there are 4 different wings of the HCCC.
So we have youth and education, where like there are a lot of programs in the youth and education which we organize to have our youth come to the temple, participate in the activities, both online and remotely. And there are a lot of volunteer opportunities for the youth to come and participate in various activities and help out the temple activities here in Livermore Temple. So
Manoharji, I think we still have some technical difficulties connecting to Subhashji. In the meantime, I think we have Manohar Mahavadi Garu to basically speak few more things about what exactly he does as Y&D chair of Livermore Temple. So, Manohar Garu, if you are there, can you please address the gathering?
So I think we should restart this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, so again, welcome to the second Global Hindu Teens Conference. As I mentioned earlier, this is our second Global Teens Conference, which we are conducting. And this is basically to reach out our youth across the world to make them aware of the importance of Sanatana Dharma, our temples and our cultures, values, and our epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and then to carry out this mission, our HCC Y&D chair, Mr. Manohar Mahavadi Garu, who is a strong driver and vision to bring the teens or youth across the globe to one platform, and this is one such attempt that we are making. We have received such good responses from youth from multiple countries, and I thank and welcome all the participants to this conference. We have like four topics, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, like about the Sanatana Dharma, then the temples of India, Bhagavad Gita verses, and management lessons from the epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I would hand over to Manohar Mahavadi Garu, who is waiting online to be talking about the Global Teens Conference and Y&D and the everything. Yeah, thank you. And Subhash ji also is online, so over to Subhash ji Garu. Subhash Garu. Bye.
Thank you.
We are not able to hear you.
Oh, you're not able to hear me? Let's see. Maybe if you can't hear me, that's probably I've joined only as a guest and not as a panelist. Okay, you still can't hear me?
Shubhashji, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm delighted that I had this opportunity to talk to all of you at this second Global Hindu Teen Conference. I just want to talk about a few points which are going to play a very important role in how Hinduism functions in this global ecosphere, so to speak. We see in the West and perhaps all over the world that there is a huge crisis both in science and society. In science, because we cannot explain 99.5% of the cosmos, and for that we have to hypothesize dark matter and dark energy. We can't explain consciousness also in a variety of fields, including from computer science to neuroscience and in physics. So this is one. In society, the crisis is because of the fear that AI is going to replace human beings in almost all activities, and certainly in the next 50, 100 years, we won't need 8 billion people on Earth to do various things, and perhaps the populations will go down. And therefore, in my view, the next few decades are going to be the most interesting one. And I think in these decades, Hinduism shows the way for both these crises. In science,
unlike mainstream paradigm, Hinduism postulates not just physical reality but also consciousness, which is called Atman. That these two are like two sides of the coin. Now, one might say, isn't that too much of a leap to make? But in reality, the deepest theory of science that we have, namely quantum mechanics, on which other sciences are based, like chemistry and biology. Quantum mechanics, in its standard interpretation, does believe that consciousness is separate from physical reality, and therefore, what will happen will be that these ideas will filter much more intensely into the general population, and that's where the Vedas, the Vedic tradition, is Atma Vidya. It is fundamentally the science of consciousness, and it does accept all other sciences also, which represent how the universe is going to evolve according to laws. So Hinduism represents a way of reality that is consistent with the sciences as we know, but also has a place for consciousness, which is precisely what we need. Because if we banish Atman or consciousness from our lives, then we have the kind of a uh, problem that we have in the United States, where young people are getting hooked onto drugs. Because if you think you are nothing but your body, then at some point you feel that life is not worth living, or you get into these deep addictions. And just last year, about 120,000 Americans, young Americans, died of drug overdose. So I think this is a very significant uh, issue in modern life, where Hinduism, and especially interlocutors for Hinduism like you teens, as you grow up, if you understand the very heart of Hinduism, you would have something to offer. Now, there are also many misconceptions about Hinduism, which academics and journalists have propagated, such as it has too much of hierarchy and so on. But in reality, Hinduism says that every human being, no matter what background, what race, what region they come from, have the same Atman. And this Atman can be viewed either as Shiva or as Krishna or as Vishnu, as you might want. So it is really absolutely egalitarian. Everybody is the same. Every human being has the capacity to do whatever they want to do. If they can go to this light, Shiva is viewed also as Prakasha, as light, which illuminates the mind. In the Hindu view, uh, consciousness and mind are separate categories, unlike the Western paradigm, where mind itself is seen as the carrier of consciousness. So there's wonderful opportunities both in the sciences, in society also, because in society, how to organize society so that the focus is on knowledge, is on fulfillment for every individual, no matter who they might be, and also live in a much more ecological or friendly way with all other creatures. Hinduism is ultimately an ecological tradition. We postulate, or Hinduism says, that other living beings also have the same Atman. Of course, their capacity to express themselves might be limited, and therefore, this opens up a world of looking at reality and looking at one's own life in a way which is richer, which is much more fulfilling, which provides more opportunities, and which gives space to every individual and also to other creatures to live in a positive way. So, with this, I shall stop, and I will tell you that you have to approach Hinduism in a positive way, not just for yourself, but also as being ambassadors of Hinduism, which is a universal knowledge tradition for the rest of the world. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
That was a wonderful speech by Subhash ji. We would like to thank him for addressing this audience, our second global uh, teens conference. Subhash ji, I think you have inspired all the youth listening to your speech today, and we thank you for taking time to be part of this. Really appreciate. The next speaker we have is Sri Iyer ji. Sri Iyer ji is an inventor, an out-of-the-box thinker, and a great supporter of Sanatana Dharma. He has been involved in several dharmic causes such as the Cow Culture Conference that took place in 2018 here in California, ICC Milpitas. The conference raised the awareness of the big indigenous cows, a rare breed that is only found in India, and its milk that has medicinal properties. Today, this Goshala boasts of 22 cows, calves, and bulls, and is selling A2 milk in the Bay Area. Through his website, pggurus.com, and his YouTube channel, youtube.com/pggurus1, Sri Iyer is active in opening the eyes of the world to the great dharma that is Sanatana Dharma, the eternal flow. Thank you, Sriji. We would now allow you to address this conference. Thank you.
Namaskar, and thank you so much, Professor Subhash ji. It was a wonderful talk that you gave. You have set the right tone for this youth conference. Dear youth, some of you may have seen some of my videos, but I encourage you to go to my channel, youtube.com/pgurus1, where we actually challenge the intellect of the person. Our channel is devoted to trying to make you think. Don't take sides before you've had a chance to listen to both sides of a story. This critical thinking aspect is what we have tried to inculcate in P Gurus. Today, I'm going to talk to you about one facet of this great religion of ours, Hinduism. I would like to more call it as Sanatana Dharma. It is a dharma. And Sanatana means eternal. Dharma can have many meanings. And in this particular case, the best, according to me, is dharma is dharayati iti dharma, or one that flows. So the eternal flow, that's what we are all part of. And I want to kind of talk to you a little bit more about this great breed of cows called the Bos Indicus cow. You can easily spot the Bos Indicus cow from the hump it sports. Most cows don't have humps. The Bos Indicus cow does. And it is viewed more as a part of the family rather than just being a cow. See, in the ancient times, I mean, even as late as even today, there are in villages, you will see what is called as a goshala, attached with every household. The Goshala is crudely called as a cowshed. It is not true. Goshala is a place where the cow stays, and it is something that becomes actually a part of your family. Why? Because the cow had some amazing properties that our ancient elders discovered. For instance, there was a dreaded disease called the smallpox, and they found that the women folk in the house never died of smallpox, or they never contacted it. It was only the men folk who were contacting it. So this led to the research that ultimately got you the smallpox vaccine and cured people from getting smallpox. In fact, I believe today smallpox is completely eradicated in the world. But the essential thing there was the cows, by being with the women folk of the house, they basically immunized the women folk of the house, and that what made them to never get smallpox. Now, why do Indians worship cow? The cow is so precious. See, there are many new mothers who can't give milk, and that's where the cow steps in. Cow's milk, and it is today sold in Costco and many shops in America as A2. That has got a special medicinal properties. It helps you in digestion. It also has many other ingredients that are beneficial for the body. Now, It is believed that in the olden days, if a member of the family wasn't doing well health wise, they would ask the cow to come inside. The cow would come into the house and it would, ask the patient to lift his or her hand. It would just lick the skin and it would know what kind of a disease that person was afflicted with. It would go and eat the right kind of herbs, and the milk produced would cure that person. This is a story that has been shared so many times that I have really believed that this is something that is so incredible about the Bos Indicus cow. I'm not saying all the cows are the same. It is just that one specific breed that seems to have these amazing properties. The cow sometimes blends so much with the family that when a girl child is born in the house, and if there is a calf of similar age, the girl child and the calf bond so much so that when the girl child gets married and goes to her in-laws, the calf accompanies her. So there is a lifelong bond that is built between the calf and the girl. And the cow, it's got so many properties. I mean, I can just keep on going. The urine has medicinal properties, and the cow dung has great antiseptic properties. In the olden days, when you had granary, so you harvest your land and you have grains, but then you can't use all of it in one day. You need it for 12 months. So how do you make sure that your produce stays good and doesn't get eaten by rodents, insects, and any other kinds of pests? So to that, the way the elders did it was they would use cow dung, and they would essentially paste it inside a room that they would call as a granary. And then that would act like a pesticide. It would make sure that the grains are preserved for the entire duration, for as long as they keep it there. In fact, it was something that was amazing. I've seen it with my own eyes when I was growing up. So the cow is so precious that even when it dies, they don't cremate the Bos Indicus cow. They bury it. And you know where they bury it? They bury it in that portion of their land where nothing grows, because the body, when as the cow's body decomposes, it actually breaks down some of the hard molecules on the ground and makes that land also fertile. So, from the time a cow is born up until its death, it is serving humanity and humankind. And that's why the Bos Indicus cow has a very special place in Sanatana Dharma. I hope I have helped you understand one of the big reasons why we all believe in Sanatana Dharma. It is one of the most scientific dharmas. In fact, Professor Subhash Kak, on one of his conversations with me, explained the importance of the number 108. You may have seen your grandparents, your parents sometimes pray to God saying that if this wish comes true, I will break 108 coconuts, or do something of that nature. And do watch that video to understand the importance of 108. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure addressing all of you. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
That was really very wonderful, Shri Ayerji. Thank you for picking up a topic and especially focusing on the Bos Indicus cows. That is really, really helpful for the audience today. I think they have something to take back and understand all the ancient rituals that our elders used to do, and there is a reasoning behind everything that was being done, and very wonderfully explained, because everybody wants to know the science behind it, right? And these days the kids ask what is the reason, right? And the scientific proof, and the proof is in the pudding. So thank you so much. We don't have the question and answer thing that we could relay back to you at this point in time. But thank you so much. The next we have the next speaker is Anandji. Anandji, I think he's been here last year as well. And last year when we had this conference, I think a lot of people were inspired, and he's back on a popular demand as well. Anandji is a second generation focus and memory expert with over 26 years of experience in helping people to harness their memory and focus to get better results faster. How many of them do not want faster results? Everybody wants. And here, if you listen to him today, you may get that. He has authored 2 books, How to Become a Top Student and Instant Memory Improvement, published from Malaysia and Singapore. He has conducted his trainings and talks in 9 countries with an audience from over 55 countries. He had an opportunity to work with people from all walks of life, including movie stars, politicians, lawyers, doctors, and even defense and police personnel too, enhance their focus and memory skills. He also conducted his workshops for several Fortune 500 companies at various levels of hierarchy across the organizations, including CXOs. Thank you, Anandji, for being here. And I think I'm 100% sure that everybody would enjoy your talk today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the invitation, and thank you for the introduction. So let me also share my screen. So thank you very much. Thanks. Okay. This part already is done, so I'll just the slides. And this talk I have specifically kept for students in mind. And having said that, it will be useful for everybody also. So let's get going with the students and the slides. Okay. We'll just skip the slides. And okay, so I'm doing this work for the last 27 years. And this is a picture which was taken 27 years ago. If you can see, that's me. That's the picture, if you can see there. That's me, okay. Anyway, so let's talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about 3 specific things. 1, the mistakes which the students do. 2, there are some boosters which you can use which can help you. And there are some strategies which you can use. So in my short talk, I'm going to cover these 3 things. So 3 mistakes and 3 boosters and maybe 3 strategies very quickly. Okay, you can take note of them or you can just pay attention. And one thing I would like to share is a lot of what I'm talking about has got a lot of references in the Indic culture. Talk about the epics, talk about Patanjali Yoga. This is all shared in a different format. What I've done is I've bring it together and make it more digestible for the current generation. So I'm not quoting the exact references, but there's a lot of references which are available. You can go and have a look. So a few things. As I was in the introduction, it was said that who don't want to get better results. So here are some of the reasons what mistakes which students make, especially the mistakes students make. The first thing is people don't set goals properly. When I say this, a lot of people think that, oh, no, I've got a goal. I've got a goal to get very good marks. Got a goal to get into a particular university. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about very specific goals. So for example, it's like, people say, okay, I want to get good marks. Now, if such kind of information is so vague, the brain cannot understand what it means by good marks. So let's say, for example, you're going to a company for a job interview, and if they ask you how much salary do you want, if you say, I want a good salary, there'll be no contract which will be signed. Similarly, if the goal is not specific, it has to be a number, maybe 95%, 85%, 91%, whatever, it doesn't matter. When you give a number, a specific number to the goal, then only the brain will start working. So most students, what they do is they have a very generic thing like, I want to score better. So the brain don't understand such kind of things. So one is having a very clear goal is very important. So people don't set. So that's a mistake which I'm talking about. So when you have a goal, what exactly happens is the brain will make sure that all the thoughts will be going into one direction, which will help you to get your result. So that's about the goal part. The second mistake which people do, especially students, is that they think that memory is input intensive. Now, what I mean by this? So let's say a student who's having a trouble in understanding the Pythagoras theorem. I'll just give an example. So the advice which they get generally is like, okay, read it 5 times. Now, by reading 5 times, what they think happens is that, you're actually putting up in layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4 in your head. But then what actually happens is, even if that is true, let's say, for example, when you go into an examination, or you go into an Viva kind of a thing, people ask you, okay, tell me about Pythagoras theorem. So what are you actually asked is to pull out the information. But all our life, what we have been doing, we have been putting in the information. So it is very, very important that you have the input. You have to understand that memory is input intensive. The one is it's the students actually do a last minute preparation. They'll say, okay, this is only only 2 months into the semester, only 3 weeks into the semester, so I've got so much of time. Now this will actually give a lot of stress and burden on the memory and focus. And not only that, the entire time you're postponing, you will be wasting that on other things which are not related to academics. So if you can actually start from the beginning of the year, that will go a long way. So a quick recap of the mistakes. Okay, let me actually stop sharing the screen, because I think that if the screen is on, you're not able to see me. So let me stop share the screen. Okay, so I think now it's much better. Okay. So the three errors which students or students make: one is not having a specific goal, very clear goal. The second one is okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah.
We are able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, got it, thanks. So the second one is the people don't use memory as an input intensive game. Memory is actually an output game. It's not about input, it's about how much can you put in. The third one is people actually do a last minute preparation, which is not a good idea. So now let's look at some kind of boosters. So what three simple things which you can do to boost your results. First thing, which most of the people don't do, is that set up an intent. I'm sure a lot of times you go and attend some seminars like the one which you're attending a webinar right now, or maybe read a book, or maybe you attend a classroom lecture or anything. Most of the time what people do is this, and as a matter of fact they do it. But if you can just set up an intent, oh, I'm going to listen to this guy, so let me understand how the memory works. I'm going to this teacher, so let me understand how oxygen is prepared in the laboratory. If you have the intent, you will be able to create a defense mechanism. So let me ask you a question, so you can think about the answer for yourself. When is the last time when you attended a seminar or read a book, you told yourself before starting that, okay, what I'm reading, I want to remember. People just generally do it, but then you have to be, if you have an intent, actively, that is going to help you. So that's the first thing, the booster which can help you is the intent. And booster is to work on your willpower. Now these days, specifically these days, a lot of students, not only students, a lot of adults have lost their willpower. It's the capacity to restrain has been very much declined. So if you can work on your willpower, that will go a long way in staying focused. The reason behind that is your willpower is like the battery of focus. The more you can have willpower, the better focus it will be. So work on small things. You don't have to, move heaven and earth together. You can do small things. Let's say, for example, you want to have coffee. Just defer it for a while. You want to talk to your friend. Maybe pause for maybe 10 minutes and then make a call. Now, by doing the small things, you will get the willpower to the next level. When you have the willpower, that can be exchanged for having a better focus. So the second booster could be working on your willpower. The third one, that part a lot of students fail to do, is getting organized. When I say getting organized, keeping the having the complete idea of the timetable, having the idea about the examinations, the things which are very, very essential. If you have organized the content, you will have lesser stress in finding out the things and lesser stress in keeping things in the mind. So that will help you again go a long way. So the three boosters very quickly. One is, of course, get organized, then you have the willpower, then you have the intent. So I just gone in the reverse order. So those are the three things which can help you to get boosted things. Now let me give 3 simple strategies which you can work on. 3 simple stuff. The first one is, I call it as audit. Now what I mean by audit, let me very quickly explain. So let's say you go to a shop and they hand over, you make some transaction and they hand over you some currency and they say, okay, this is $53. So would you count the amount and then put pocket, or would you simply put in the pocket? You of course count them, right? So before you take something, you'll actually verify whether you got it or not as per the conversation or as per the pricing. Now, what is it to do with the audit in academics? Very simple. So when you read something, okay, a lot of time people read for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever time, and they close the book and they say, okay, I think I got it. So who told you I got it? So it's just a feeling. So when you close the book, you have to ask yourself, what did I really get? So close the book and try to recall, what did I capture? By doing this, what happens is your confidence level will go higher. The reason being, if you are able to recall, you know that you are able to recall, you know that you know. And if you are not able to recall, at least right there, you'll know that you're not managed it, so you can always go back and learn. But if you just close the book thinking that, oh, I think I've got it, it's not going to work. So audit is a very, very important practice. Every time you close the book, how much have you? So this training will go a long way for your mind in absorbing the content, because the mind has a purpose to recall at a later stage. So that's about the audit. The second one is to make summaries. Now, a lot of students especially neglect on making summaries. Now, what I mean by summary, it's not like, writing lengthy passages of summaries or something like that. So it can be simply what you have understood in your own words. The reason why summary goes a long way, few things. One is you have to understand before you make a summary. So if you're not able to make a summary, you know for sure, oh, something is wrong, and you can actually work back on that. The second thing is, when you make a summary in your own words, you are actually owning up the content. For example, I'm saying something and I go off from here. So that is what Anant has said. Okay. But if you make a summary, now Anant has gone out of the picture, but that content becomes your own. So you will become the content making a summary. So summary will help you in owning up the content, paying attention when you're learning, and as a fallback mechanism when you're preparing. So the three important reasons why you have to make a summary. So this is the second strategy which you can use. And the third strategy, very important, is to actually review the content. And let me share a situation which most of you have gone through. People read something and they're very excited, they learn the stuff, but then maybe 2 weeks later, they say, oh, I think I've forgotten most of it. They're not able to recall maybe 30, 40, 50, 60% of the content. So let me tell you something interesting. So it has been estimated in several studies that in the first 24 hours, you stand to lose about 50 to 70% of the content which are captured through any source. It can be through a conversation, it can be reading a book, it can be listening an audio program, it can be a workshop, a seminar, it doesn't matter. Whatever kind of you had, you might stand to lose about 50 to 70% of it in the first 24 hours. So the most important thing is to make sure that the content is there with you. So a simple thing what you can do is try and revise at the end of the day. You have to try and revise at the end of the day, and try and revise at the end of 1 week. Is so that's for the strategies. One is audit, the second one is summary, and the third one is basically making a revision. So there's three things, and let me share one last bonus protocol which I share. Now, 4 questions you should ask yourself if you want to take your results to the next level. It can be focus, it can be anything in your life. If you want to take your focus to the next results to the next level, 4 questions you can ask particularly to the thing which you want to achieve. Let's say, for example, you want to score 95%. I'm just giving an example. It can be whatever thing which you want to achieve. I'm just giving an example. You want to achieve 95%. So there are 4 questions you have to ask every single day. First question, what can I do more of? If you want to get 95%, what can I do more of? The second question is, what can I do less of? The third one is, what can I start? What can I start? And the fourth one is, what can I stop doing? Simple example. Let's say somebody wants to lose weight. So I want to lose weight, let's say, and the 4 questions will be, what can I do more to lose weight? Maybe more of jogging. Okay, what can I do less of? Maybe less sugar. I'm just giving an example. Or what can I start new? Maybe having green tea, or maybe going for a swim. And what can I stop completely? Maybe eating pizza. So just by answering these questions regularly, your mind will be aligned to what you are doing. It can be academics, it can be anything else. So these are the small content which I thought it will help you. So 3 mistakes and 3 strategies and 3 boosters, and 4 questions which will help you to align. So I wish you all the best and thank you very much. And if you have questions, you can always get back to me on my Facebook or LinkedIn, or you can find me on social media. Thank you so much. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Anandji. Again, just to let you know, Anandji is speaking from Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. A big round of applause for Anandji and all the speakers for doing a phenomenal job and kicking off this second Global Teen Conference. We thank each one of you from the bottom of our hearts, sir. Now I would like to hand over the mic back to Manoharji, who's going to talk about the judging process of how all these evolved and give more details and the next steps. Thank you. Back to you, Manoharji.
Thank you, Anandji. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
And
hear you.
yeah, hope you're all having a wonderful session, listening to the speakers, and I was watching it. It was great. And thanks, Anandji, for coordinating this as well. So just to reintroduce myself, this
Thank you,
is
sir.
Manohar Mahawal, the EC Chair for Youth and Education, Shiva Vishnu Temple. And this is second consequential conference we are organizing this time. And I'm very happy to say that quite a good participation from many countries. And we have about 14 judges selected from India, US, and Canada, who spend their time, valuable time, evaluating each of these videos. And at least 5 judges evaluated each video. Almost like it took us about 1.5 months to go over this. And the way it happened was we have 4 topics. One of them is the pre-1900 temples across the world. Same also pre-1900 contributors to Sanatana Dharma. Third one is the Bhagavad Gita slokas for student success. And fourth one is the management lessons from Ramayana and Mahabharata. So we have to pick the judges also accordingly, who are well conversant with these topics. Some of them have academic experience, some of them don't have academic experience, but it is from across different walks of life. I would like to personally thank the judges, Dr. Kamala Shankarji from San Francisco Bay Area, Dr. Bala Brahmanandam from Ottawa, Canada, H.K. Narayan from Fremont, California, Kumar Padmini from San Jose, California, Dr. Mergu Lakshminarayana from India, Hyderabad, India, Mr. Arun Rajanala from Fremont, California, Kalyana Sundaram Venkateshwaran, we affectionately call him Cal Venki from Livermore, California, Prasad Kongara from San Jose, California, Ramarao Yanduluri Garu from Dublin, California, Dr. Suguru Krishnamohan Rao from Hyderabad, India, Sridhar Reddy from Los Angeles, California, Divakar Sarvagnya, New Jersey, USA, CVN Rajaram from New Jersey, USA. Thank you all the wonderful judges. I really thank you so much for spending your personal time going through these videos multiple times, trying to get the best out of this. The way we approach this whole evaluations is, it is not an academic exercise we wanted to do. We don't want to be too rigid in the evaluations, because our bottom line objective is to really encourage the children and appreciate their hard work, which went into preparing these videos, or talking and presenting and writing of um, the composition actually. So thank you all. Then what I would like to do is, so we have 4 topics. Individual topics were assigned to the group of judges, 5 judges or 6 judges. They went through all the videos, so they get a good curve. They understand who's the best contributors, who's the the next best, like that. And so At the end, we all compile the data. So we give them a form to evaluate objectively. For some of them, there are scores of 1 to 5, some of the items scores 1 to 3. So almost like 10 questions we posed and 10 score points. Plus, we also give a little bit of room for subjective opinion of the judges as well. Considering all these aspects, we evaluated and we put everything on a graph. So we have selected 8 winners. 4 of them are, we call them winners, and 4 of them as runners. And we have chosen the best presenters based on various categories. It is not just one category. We took an average score of average judges per judge per topic, and then we put them in a graph, and then we identified them. So I should really thank all the participants for spending their time and subscribing and contributing their videos and write-ups well on time. With this, what I would like to do is I would like to introduce Shanmukhanand, who is one of our young representatives from the temple, who is on site. Unfortunately, I could not be in the temple because of COVID, I should say, which I acquired on my return from India in this week. So, to come onto the stage, who will announce the winners and runners of the competition. I shouldn't call it as a competition, but we just have to really make this as a competition. Now, as far as the prizes are concerned, I know we did not declare that in advance. What should be the prizes? I wanted to surprise the audience, surprise the participants. So winners will be and runners will be provided with plaques on a nice wooden plaque, and then followed we will be shipping the also a set of books related to Sanatana Dharma are valuable to the Hindu students as a part of this award or reward for the appreciation for the students for their participating. And those children who did not fall into this category of winners or runners will get a certificate by mail, and we'll also see if we can ship some books for them also. Okay, thank you very much. And with this, I will hand over the mic to Shanmukhanand. Thank you, Shanmukhanand. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the awards presentation. So, as Manohar stated, we have 4 runner-ups and 4 winners, and we have 2 third-place winners. So, the first runner-up is from Pleasanton, California. Their topic was ancient Hindu temples in India and the rest of the world. Their name is Soumya Venkatesh. Everyone, give them a round of applause. Now let's play the video.
styles of temples. There's a Nagara style in North India, Vesara style in Hi, my name is Soumya Venkatesh. I'm from Pleasanton, California, which is in the US, and my topic is temples within India and outside India. And my presentation will focus on temples and harmony. So, why are temples so elaborate in the first place? That is, why was so much work done to make them so big? Well, there are multiple ways of looking at it, but the biggest reason we could think about, or that is the reason that aligns more with harmony, is that the experience that one gains from going into a temple. Once we walk into our temple, the goal is to forget the different worries of the outside world and focus more on the divine and finding that balance within oneself and finding harmony. A harmony means peace between multiple components. And with our mind, a lot of different directions and thoughts and emotions are pulling us in different directions. And what can make us better and what can create a better perspective, better focus, is balancing of these different components within the mind. And so going into temple really helps with that, as I will describe. So let's look at some actual temples within India and outside India to help illustrate this. There are three main styles of temples. There's a Nagara style in North India, Vesara style in Middle India in the Deccan, and Dravidian style in Southern India. Alright, so temples within India. A typical Nagara style temple is the Konark Sun Temple, which is in Puri. One of the most important features of this is that it was built with a triangular base. Why a triangle? It was considered as one of the perfect forms. But now, when we look at it, it's actually the strongest form. It's the strongest shape. No matter what physical forces act upon it, it will still stay rigid and in place. And that's what they used as the base for this temple. And they also used a square plan, which helps with the layout. And the layout has balancing between the different forces and the different kind of energies within the temple, which was important in creating the harmony. Next, the Brihadishwara temple, which is in Tanjavur. It's a typical Dravidian style architecture, and it has the world's tallest vimana. And what's interesting is on the top of the vimana, there's this 80-ton granite cupola. So that's incredibly heavy. But what allows the vimana to be able to support this is the interlocking stones. And again, only interlocking stones were used as connectors. They didn't use cement or joints like iron joints. They used these interlocking stones. And they were placed so precisely, cut to the perfect shape. Because planning, it was very important that they understood proportion, but the execution of it, like the way they had perfectly placed it and aligned it, was what helped balance this 80-ton cupola. And it's also the reason this temple stands strong to this day. And also, if you're looking at it from a experience kind of point of view, when you look at this temple, when you walk in, you feel the grandeur and the immaculate proportions, which contribute to the feeling of harmony. Lastly, within India, we have the Chennakeshava temple in Belur. It is a typical Vesara style temple. It has very beautiful sculptures, and these sculptures also have a lot of proportionality. And for different gods and icons, and different humans and different types of beings, there are different proportions that are used. And the proportions were so beautifully figured out and beautifully carved that you get this feeling of harmony and this feeling of balance because they had such a strong understanding of the proportions of the human body that they've done it really well. All right, so moving on to outside India. We're mainly focusing on Southeast Asia, mostly because uh, that's the place where the very ancient Hindu temples were built. And Hindu temples got there in the first place through sea trade. And they introduced a lot of Hindu philosophies and ideas and also scriptures, which help with the building methods. So in Angkor Wat, it's a very classic example in Cambodia, and it resembles Mount Meru, similar to the Choras, whose architecture also was based off this Mount Meru. And also, you can see the Pallava influence in the pyramidal structure. And it has its own indigenous twist by having some carvings that are not typically seen in Indian temples, like the churning of the Milky Ocean. Next, we have the Prambanan Temple, which is in Java and Indonesia. And it has the layout of the Chandi Perwara temples, that is, these smaller temples that are mostly now ruins. These were kind of based on the Sri Yantra. And the Sri Yantra is in really geometric patterns and based on triangles and circles that represent the lower chakras of the human body. And they had executed so flawlessly. Like, look at the spacing between these. It was really beautiful. And it also creates that spiritual harmony. To conclude, there are so many different temples. This is just scratching the surface. Through their architectural features, that is the structural aspect of the temples, this harmonic atmosphere is created, like between the different dualities, the different kind of directions. And through this harmony, we can gain more balance of mind, and balance of mind leads to clearer thinking. Clearer thinking means new solutions, better solutions, and seeing connections that get missed out. And that's the reason why we should look at temples more, appreciate them, and learn about them. Thank you.
All right. So we have Soumya Venkatesh in the audience. Could we get her up here? Hello, just introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Through this experience, I was able to learn very much about temples, and definitely my appreciation for temples has deepened very much. It has been a wonderful experience, and this is my second year doing this competition hosted by the Livermore Temple. So I'd like to express my gratitude for being able to do this and for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you.
Thank you. Now let's move on to our second runner-up. This runner-up is from Dublin, California in the US, and their topic was management lessons from Ramayana and Mahabharata as applicable to modern times. This runner-up's name is Harini Suresh. Everyone give her a round of applause.
Hi, my name is Harini Suresh and I am from the US, specifically in Dublin, California. Today I will be talking about some of the management lessons from Ramayana and Mahabharata and how they can be applied to modern day life. Ramayana and Mahabharata are both great epics of Sanatana Dharma. They both teach us righteous path and reinforce the fact that good always wins over evil, though it may sometimes seem as if evil has the upper hand. Ramayana talks about the incarnation of Lord Vishnu as Rama to kill Ravana and establish righteousness in the world so everyone can thrive. Rama exiled to the forest for 14 years, accompanied by his wife Sita and his brother Lakshmana. Ravana, a demon, kidnapped Sita and took her to Lanka. With the help of Hanuman and Sugriva, Rama eventually found Sita and defeated Ravana. Mahabharata talks about how Krishna, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, re-established Dharma. During a battle for power between Pandavas and Kauravas, Krishna led the Pandavas. Under Krishna's lead, the Pandavas won the battle. From both of these well-known stories, some crucial management lessons can be learned, specifically lessons that teach people how to approach conflicts. The first management lesson is to stay focused on your goal. In Ramayana, Sundarakandam, chapter 1, Hanuman was given the task of flying over to Lanka to find Sita. However, during his journey, he encountered distractions such as Mountain Mainaka asking Hanuman to rest. In order for Hanuman to accomplish his task of flying to Lanka, Hanuman needed to stay focused, allowing him to finish his task efficiently. In Mahabharata, Sambhava Parva and Adi Parva, the Pandavas learned archery from Guru Dronacharya. The students were to pierce the right eye of a wooden bird that hung from a tree. When the Guru first asked Yudhishthira what he saw, Yudhishthira said that he was able to see a tree, bird, and leaves, and so did the other Pandavas except for Arjuna. Arjuna, on the contrary, said that he was only able to see the bird's right eye. When Arjuna aimed at the bird, he accurately pierced the right eye of the bird. Because Arjuna focused on his goal of piercing the bird's right eye and didn't get distracted by anything else, he was able to adequately accomplish his goal. In the modern world, there are way too many distractions like social media, video games, and so on. Whenever you have to accomplish a task, you cannot do so if you constantly give in to distractions. You must ignore distractions and stay entirely focused in order to effectively complete tasks. The second management lesson is the following. To achieve a goal, team up with people who understand the goal, its ethics, and its importance. In Ramayana, Kishkinda Kandam, chapter 7, Rama decided to team up with Sugriva instead of with Sugriva's brother Vali to find Sita. This is because Sugriva was separated from his family like Rama was separated from Sita, so Sugriva could clearly understand Rama's goal. Vali, on the other hand, caused Sugriva's separation, so he couldn't really understand Rama's goal as well, and his actions were unethical. Rama felt Sugriva had not faltered on the moral values and would be able to see the importance of his goal of finding Sita much better than Vali. Rama and Sugriva were able to empathize with each other and were able to effectively help each other and overcome their problems. In Mahabharata, Sainyodyoga Parva, Arjuna, one of the Pandavas, decided to team up with Krishna instead of with Krishna's Narayani army to defeat the Kauravas. Although partnering with the Narayani army allowed for the Pandavas to have more men fighting for them, Arjuna wanted to partner with Krishna because he knew that Krishna was smart and that he would enhance the Pandavas' war strategy using his intelligence. More importantly, Krishna was Arjuna's friend and close relative, so Arjuna knew that Krishna would understand him better than the entire Narayani army ever could. Making the right decision of choosing Krishna to lead the Pandavas in war resulted in their victory. This can be applied to modern day life as well. When you want to achieve a goal, choosing the right kind of people who share ethical values matter. If the entire team understands the goal and its importance, everyone will strive to do their best. The third and final management lesson is to act towards finding the solution to the problem rather than thinking about the problem itself. In Ramayana, Aranyakandam, chapter 65, Sita was kidnapped by Ravana, which caused Rama's extreme grief and anger. Despite this, Rama persevered to find Sita, taking Lakshmanan's advice. Because Rama focused on the call to action instead of the problem itself, he was able to succeed. Similarly, in Mahabharata, Jatugrihadaha Parva, Duryodhana, Shakuni, Karna, and Dushasana, a group of Kauravas, conspired to burn the Pandavas alive in Lakshagriha. Fortunately, Vidura, a supporter of Pandavas, heard about this conspiracy and built a secret tunnel inside Lakshagriha for the Pandavas to escape through. Because immediate action against the conspiracy was taken instead of worrying about the problem, the Pandavas were able to safely escape from danger. Similarly, in life, whenever you have a problem, shift your focus away from the problem to the solution. Ramayana and Mahabharata are both great Hindu epics and much can be taken away from them. They teach valuable management lessons that can even be applied to modern day life. They both time and again establish the fact that good will eventually win over evil. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Soumya Venkatesh. I'm from Pleasanton, California, which is in the US.
Okay. Everyone give her a round of applause. Our next runner-up is from Novi in the USA. Her topic is ancient Hindu temples in India and the rest of the world. Our third runner-up is Tanmaya Reddy. Everyone give her a round of applause.
Namaste everyone, my name is Tanmay Reddy. I'm from Noida, Michigan. My topic for today's discussion is about ancient Hindu temples in India and rest of the world. I will briefly go about ancient Hindu temples in India and around the world, as well give a short description of the architectural style, the importance of Hindu temples as social, cultural, and economic centers rather than religious worshipping corridors, and the current state of these magnificent structures and the importance of conserving and passing on useful insights to succeeding generations. Bharat is a territory of divinities and spiritual practices, nature, art, and culture. It was also a successful economy in the history. As a result, it has been savaged by numerous foreign forces throughout the historical past. The territory was rich not just in the sense of culture, but also in the field of construction. Bharat was the home of scientific engineering creatives. These temples have withstood floods, seismic activity, and wind gusts with a really steady rebuttal, demonstrating persistent design features. When these temples were built thousands of years ago, there weren't proven design considerations, testing methodology, technology, calculators, and computers, etc. Nevertheless, the end results of such temples are fantastic engineering performances. A Hindu temple is a holy place of worship for Hindus. Hindu temples have been among the most innovative in the classical civilizations, both philosophically and structurally. It is a structure constructed to help put humans and divinities together through devotion, surrender, and dedication. The significance and layout of a Hindu temple are based on Vedic doctrines. It also symbolizes computation and the congruence of the cosmos and the true representation via astronomical numbers, as well as precise connections linked to the geography of the place and the presumptive connections of the god and the benefactor. Hindu temples served as a breeding ground for knowledge, art, architecture, science, mathematics, and culture. These practices and traditions prevail not only in the past but also in the present, having a significant impact on the socio cultural life and strengthening interconnections with different cultures. The scene depicting a soldier using an instrument like a telescope on 12th century temple, Halebedu Temple Complex, Karnataka, is an excellent representation of the existence of science and technology working together in those days. It is a 900-year-old temple, whereas the modern telescope was invented by Galileo about 400 years ago. Several such inventions are carved out on the Hindu corridors, temple corridors, to represent the people's lives at the time, including innovations, music, instruments used, trade practices, and lifestyles. A Hindu temple integrates all facets of cosmology, representing the great, right, wrong, as well as components of the Hindu context of transient time and the embodiment of existence, metaphorically representing dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and especially karma. Hindu temple architecture has many styles, but the fundamental framework of the Hindu temple continues to remain the same, with a significant characteristic of an inner sanctum, referred as Garbhagriha, where the principal deity is accommodated in a simple open compartment. This compartment commonly does have an open space for circular paths of mobility for ritual practices and worship. Around about this enclosure, there are recurrently those certain formations and structures, in some cases spanning many hectares. The Garbhagriha is felicitated on the outside by a tower-like structure called Shikara, also known as Vimana in the southern part of Bharat. Shilpa Shastras and Vastu Shastras are the guiding doctrines that define the architectural patterns of Hindu temples. Many temples adhere to many of the architectural principles outlined in Shilpa Shastra, with minor variations based on region, rulers, and so on. These principles embrace stylistic freedom and at times demonstrated substantial creative flexibility in design by incorporating those certain flawless geometric shapes and scientific equations to convey the Hindu way of life. These shrines, built according to Vastu Shastras, are the best examples of using geometric, mathematical, and logical construction techniques even before the 1900s. In fact, long before the introduction of modern precise building machinery and equipment, such as lathes, grinding machinery, and are still standing after many earthquakes and natural disasters. There are innumerable such temples to quote that are architectural feats of engineering and are still landmarked. There are numerous archaeological wonders in Bharat. Many of them were wiped out as a result of invasions. The 40-acre Chidambaram temple in southern Bharat contains 999 pillars and the 1000th depicting Lord Shiva dancing. Brihadishwara temple was built in 1011 AD by Raja Raja Chola. It is a 216 feet tall and is entirely made of granite stone. If there were no granite quarries nearby and this temple was constructed entirely with 130,000 tons of this stone, the transportation is beyond imagination. Also, no binding agent was used, instead, stones were interlocked for construction, which is unusual for high rise buildings today. It is also intricately sculpted, which is difficult on the hard granite stone. There is also a massive Nandi carved from a single piece of stone stands that in front of the stone temple. The Mahalingam, the stone tower building, weighs 80 tons and measures 23 feet in diameter and 9 feet in height. Without using modern cranes, the shifting mechanism used to raise the stone to the height is bewildering. The reflection of a temple complex falls only inside the temple's boundaries. And it is a creative idea to build because it requires previous planning for orientation as well as scientific and mathematical intelligence and expertise. It was done precisely in an era before machines and calculators were invented. Construction, even just a mast house these days, requires a CAD, a calculator, cranes, or computer. Many shrines to mention, such as the Kalasa Temple in Ellora, which stands 32 meters tall and is the largest global rock cut temple. It is built and sculpted from top to bottom on a hard rock, which itself is unusual but appears to emerge from the ground. There isn't any such structure either preceding or following this in the globe till date. Like was the musical columns of Hampi, thousand pillars temples in various locations, Chausat Yogini Temple, a 11th century temple in Madhya Pradesh, despite being in the seismic zone the third, has withstood many earthquakes, apparently without substantial damage. Chandbori is a stepwell from 8th to 9th centuries in Rajasthan, 30 meters deep into the soil, creating among the largest and deepest in Bharat. It is comprised of 3,500 constructed steps over 13 stories that are geometrically symmetrical. Such temples are not just limited to Bharat alone. Angkor Wat, built in the 12th century by King Suryavarman II, is the world's largest monument erected to date. It is a perfect example of millennia old edifices of Hindu temples beyond Bharat. Temples were built such earlier in this massive structure in Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. The Wokan epitapha of Champa, dated to the 2nd or 3rd century CE in Vietnam and between the 4th and 5th century CE in Cambodia, is the most conclusive evidence found in Sanskrit inscriptions discovered in the islands and on the mainland of Southeast Asia. Prior to the 2nd century, there have been Hindu temples in Funan, China, devoted to Lord Shiva and Vishnu. They show the rest of the world that Sanatana Dharma existed outside Bharat as well. Many Hindu temples depict scientific and technological innovations and are still in use today and were reinvented by the Western world. These stones talk about reality rather than mythology. They instruct spirituality and mindfulness as opposed to religion. Temples are not only the centers for religious purposes, they also house art, architecture, educational and public service centers, among other things. Even now, anti Hindu forces subject them to several violent assaults and vandalize them, perceiving them as nothing more than religious structures. Many of the Sanatana Dharma literature, which was like an ocean of knowledge for Hindus, was burned to ashes, having left just with these stones, the temples, to show that Hindu civilization was far more advanced and innovative in those eras than the contemporary world presumes. It is critical to preserve these structures as they are the only surviving and recognizable examples of Sanatana Dharma, Hindu contributions to science, mathematics, and technology, and numerous other things. I'd like to request that this prestigious platform emphasize the importance of preserving these precious structures and having them to pass on to the next generations. Dhanyavad.
Hi, my name is Harini Suresh and I am from the US, specifically in Dublin.
All right, everyone give her a round of applause. Now we'll call our final runner-up. This runner-up is from San Jose, California, in the United States, and their topic is verses of Bhagavad Gita relevant for students' progress and success. This runner-up's name is Ashvita Raja. Everyone give a round of applause.
Hello, my name is Ashwita Raja. I live in San Jose, California in the United States. The category of the topic are the verses of Bhagavad Gita relevant for students' progress and success. First, a brief description about the topic of the talk. I will be listing a few verses of the Bhagavad Gita and will be explaining its meaning and how it is relevant to students' progress and success. Out of the 700 verses and 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, only a few verses dive into the clear representation of how it explains a student's progress and success. Number 1, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 47. Karmanyevadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbur ma te sangosva karmani. This verse means that you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, nor be attached to an action. I interpret this verse to be explaining the idea that you should focus on your actions and not the results. You should continue performing your duties and not worry about whether you achieve something or not. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it tells them to continue putting in the same amount of effort and dedication into something even when the results are not as expected. Students will succeed only when they have a positive mindset while at the same time progressing on their goal. Number 2, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitosna sukha dukkadha agama payino nitya stamsitikshasva bharata. This verse means, O son of Kunti, the contact between the senses and the sense objects gives rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. These are non-permanent and come and go like the winter and summer seasons. O descendant of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. I interpret this verse to be diving deep into the philosophy of learning to tolerate things in life. It shows that nothing is permanent in this world. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it teaches them to tolerate tough times in life without being affected by them. Students will succeed and progress when they learn to tolerate bad times, knowing that both happiness and distraught events in life are temporary and will continue to come and go. Number 3, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 12. Istan bhoghan hi vo deva tasyante yajna bhavitaha tirdathana pradayebhyo yo bhungte stena eva saha. This verse means that the celestial gods, being satisfied with the performance by sacrifice, will grant you all the desired necessities of life. But those who enjoy what is given to them without making offerings in return are verily thieves. From this verse, I can interpret the idea of what happens to people who work for their own benefit. All of our life is dependent on God and what God grants us. We lose the purpose in life and decide to keep the abundance and prosperity to ourselves without offering back in return. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it teaches them that they should be grateful for everything they have and are blessed with, and should offer back in return unselfishly. Students will succeed and progress when they realize that if they use God's creations for their pleasure, they should always make offerings in return. They will have to learn to not work for their own benefit, for also the people around them as well. Number 4. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 37. Yate dhamsi samitogner pasmasat kurute jana jnanagni sarvakarmani pasmasat kurute tata. This verse refers to as a kindle fire reduces wood to ashes. O Arjun, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions from material activities. I can interpret that this verse is trying to send the message that all sins get destroyed with knowledge. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it expresses the spiritual knowledge of God and spiritual beings that students should know. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it teaches students to use the knowledge that they have to balance out their good and bad deeds. Number 5. Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse number 5. Udaredhatmanatmanam natmanam avasadhayet atmeva hyatmano bandhur atmeva ripuratmanah. This verse means that you have to elevate yourself through the power of your mind and not degrade yourself, for the mind can be the friend and also the enemy of the self. I can interpret this verse to be showing and expressing the significance of the power of the mind. This is relevant to students' progress and success since it makes students realize the powerful existence of their mind. To succeed, students need to balance out their mind by gaining knowledge over time. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Namaste, everyone.
So we actually have Ashvita Raja here on in person. So could we please get her up?
Hello, my name is Ashwita Raja. I'd first off like to thank Livermore Temple for this wonderful opportunity. Throughout this process, I've learned a lot about the verses of Bhagavad Gita relevant for students' progress and success. So this is my first time participating in this global conference. Thank you.
Good job. Now we'll move on to our winners. So we have 2 third-place winners, 1 second-place winner, and 1 first-place winner. Our first third-place winner is from Maharashtra, India, and her topic was verses of Bhagavad Gita relevant for students' progress and success. The third-place winner is Janavi Lalit Manjule.
Namaste. Today I am Janvi Manjuli from Satana, Maharashtra, going to express my views as a youth on topic verses of Bhagavad Gita relevant for students' progress and success. Yes, I can proudly say that I belong to the country whose son Maharshi Vyas distributes this Gyanamrut to whole world, that is Bharat. In the first chapter of Gita, Arjuna wanted to observe the whole battlefield. This is the most perfect example of finding the target and analyzing it. In first chapter, Arjuna is not confident, rather he gets depressed. He was giving false excuses by saying that he was fighting against his own family. This is when Krishna's teachings come in, which reduces the stress of Arjuna gradually. Why Gita is told is foundation on which our curiosity built to learn it. Arjuna is symbolism of today's youth, who truly forget who is he and what should be his first priority to do. So, but nothing to worry. Still Krishna is here to guide us through the verses of Gita. Let's see one by one. The flow of Gita is itself the best example of teaching method, that is question answer method. Lord says, तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेशन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. Here Lord gives the importance of the bona fide master and way to acquire knowledge in the most prominent way. Here the respect and surrender of student towards the teacher matter the most. Many students have questions regarding concentration. Here Lord says, मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः. The unity of intelligence and mind leads to the appropriate mindset of learning. This is the ultimate way to make mind one-pointed. Lord urges us to sit on asana and keep chanting Om by focusing on the center point of our forehead. This meditation going to help you in the inner exploration, which is the fundamental of life. The picture is beautifully depicting that to try our best is only in our control, but to succeed in something depends on various other factors. So just think about what's in your control instead of unnecessary worry. Everyone has that question, how to control mind. Even Arjuna said to Lord Krishna that I can control the wind but not my mind. What to do? Mind can be our best friend and worst enemy. So Lord says, असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते. Here the keywords are practice and detachment. Lord explained detachment by the example of the turtle, that it hides itself completely in the case of danger. To be able to control your desires and to not allow your desires to control you, this is what detachment stands for. We all know the importance of the balanced diet and lifestyle in our life. Lord says, Ayus sattva balarogya sukha priti vivardhanaha rasya snigdha stira rudya ahara satvika priya. We are what we eat. So we should consume such food which gives strength, happiness, satisfaction and also increase the duration of life. Such food is juicy, fatty, wholesome and pleasing to heart. So we should consume such food. Lord again says, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. We should be regulated in our habits like eating, sleeping, etc. Not too much or not too less going to help you in the development. Only regulated lifestyle can going to enhance you with it. So we should maintain balanced diet and balanced lifestyle in our life to enhance our learning capability and productivity. Here Lord gives the most important lesson for student life. To choose your career and to choose your work in society, you must analyze your natural qualities and tendencies. Lord gives even broad perspective regarding that. Yuk chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartarapimam vidya kartaramaudeya. Self-awareness should be the basis to choose your career. So this is the ultimate way to choose your work in society. Lord says, Yat yat acharati shreshtas tatta devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. Everyone is leader of someone in any way or other. So it's responsibility of everyone to set right example for followers to follow. So be leader from now. This is the ultimate lesson given by Lord Krishna, which is followed by various management schools and business executives also. At last, after giving so much knowledge to Arjuna, Lord says, just forget everything and surrender to me. Because at last, what wins is unshakable faith. So whatever you are doing and going to decide for yourself, just give your best. This is the ultimate way towards the perfection in life. Lord says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpana. There is some power which is handling this all. May you consider it as inner voice, nature, God, anything, but must have faith in it. Because this faith going to give you ultimate strength to face the life struggles and also it will push you to fulfill your duties in any hazardous situation of life. So study Gita, live Gita, and thank you so much.
Our second, third place winner is from North Ross, Pennsylvania in the US. Their topic is management lessons from Ramayana and Mahabharata as applicable to modern times. Our second, third place winner is Srivatsa Alladi. Everyone give him a round of applause.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. My name is Ashirvachanam. I'm from the United States and I live in North Wales, Pennsylvania. In this video, I will be discussing management lessons from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. I will focus first on the Mahabharata's management lessons. The first management lesson I will be talking about in this video is commitment. Commitment can be seen in the Mahabharata with Bhishma. Bhishma took an oath to never marry in his life for the sake of his father Shantanu's happiness. And this commitment is also shown when he leads an army against the Pandavas despite being fond for them. He stays true to his kingdom Hastinapur and shows true commitment. This management lesson of commitment can be seen in modern times as well, through people such as Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who stuck through their dreams and made it till the end. He stayed committed to cricket and ended up playing at the highest level. The next lesson I will be discussing is perseverance. After losing their kingdom and wealth in an unfair game of dice, the Pandavas had to go in exile for 12 years in forests and then 1 year of incognito at King Virata's palace. Despite all of this, they managed to remain perseverant and defeat the Kauravas. The next management lesson is loyalty. Now, the biggest example of loyalty in the Mahabharata is Karna. Now, Karna became friends with Duryodhana after facing humiliation from the Pandavas. However, his commitment to friendship is unwavering, and he sticks by Duryodhana's side even after finding out that he's technically the eldest brother of the Pandavas. He is a prime example of unflinching loyalty. In our modern world, one example of someone who is loyal is Volodymyr Zelensky. Even through the Ukrainian and Russian war, he is staying loyal to his country and fighting against Russia. And this is one example of the Mahabharata management lesson being used in the world. The final management lesson is how having half knowledge can be very dangerous, and Abhimanyu is an example of this. In the Mahabharata, Abhimanyu was able to break into the Chakravyuha, but unfortunately he would get trapped inside of it since he didn't know how to exit. He only knew how to get in, but he wasn't able to exit it. And he fought ferociously for hours until the Kauravas would eventually break the codes of war to kill him. Despite being a valiant warrior, he serves as an example of the dangers of half-knowledge. In the Ramayana, one very big management lesson is teamwork, and this is shown when Rama's army reaches the ocean. The Vanara construct a floating bridge by writing Lord Rama's name on all the stones. They would work together to build this bridge and help them cross the ocean to Sri Lanka so that they can defeat Ravan's army and save Sita. The Ramayana speaks of how Rama was very sad after Sita got kidnapped. However, he would still stay strong and eventually forge ties with Sugriv to rescue Sita. Now, this is very applicable to modern times, where there have been many major conflicts that have come about, such as the COVID pandemic and many wars. However, we have all stayed resilient and have stood courageously in the face of these great adversities. So that's a very applicable lesson from the Ramayana. In summary, the Mahabharata and Ramayana hold a vast number of critical management lessons. These management lessons provide so many valuable insights and are very applicable in our modern world. Thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope you enjoyed.
Our second prize winner is from San Jose, California, in the United States. Their topic is verses of Bhagavad Gita, relevant for a student's progress and success. The second place winner is Abhinav Raja. Give him a round of applause.
Hello, my name is Abhinav Raja and I live in San Jose, California. This place is located in the United States. So first, I will be talking about the category of the topic. So the category is verses of Bhagavad Gita that are relevant for a student's progress and success. So now I'll be giving a brief description about this right now. So in this topic, I will be giving a few Bhagavad Gita verses that are relevant for a student's progress and success. I will then give the exact reference of the verse, meaning of the verse, and how to interpret it to help a student's progress and success. So, the first verse, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 47. Here's the reference. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbur ma te shangostva karmani. So now the meaning of this verse. This verse means that you are allowed to do all of your duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. You should never consider yourself to always be the cause of the results of your activities, nor be attached to inaction. So, in short, it basically means that you should focus on your duties mainly rather than the results. So, here's the interpretation part. I would interpret this verse as mainly focusing on your duties/actions and not focusing on the results. So the interpretation of this would help a student's progress and success because it shows that you should always care about the result and should keep moving on and get better. Now say, just for example, if you failed a test, you shouldn't fully give up and instead focus on your actions so that you can start studying and do much better on the next test. So now moving on to the next verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 14. Here's the reference. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitosna sukha dukkadaha agamapayino nitya stamstitik shasva bharata. So the meaning of this verse is, O son of Kunti, the contact between the senses and the sense objects gives rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. These are non-permanent and come and go just like seasons. O descendant of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So like now for this one in short, it means that you should know how to tolerate things and that nothing is permanent. So here's the interpretation part. I would interpret this verse as learning how to tolerate things and that nothing is really that permanent. This would help in the success of a student's progress because as a student, you must learn how to have a lot of tolerance. You should not be affected by things permanently because everything can be fixed. Everything is temporary and bad times don't stay for long. After some time, the bad phases will soon go away and you should know how to tolerate it without getting badly affected. So instead of not tolerating, you could use your failure as an inspiration towards your success. So now another example for this is, if you get a bad grade on something, you should not be fully depressed and instead you should be able to tolerate it so you can do better the next time, whether it's a test, assignment, or whatever. So now moving on to the third and final verse. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 63. Here's the reference. Krodha bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibramaha smriti pramshad buddhinaso buddhinasat pranashyati. So the meaning of this verse is that anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bad memory. When the memory is like bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed. And when the intellect is destroyed, a person is ruined. So it means that anger has bad side effects, mainly like memory loss. So now the interpretation part. I would interpret this verse as saying that having anger has a lot of bad side effects, which can affect you a lot. So not having anger will help in a student's progress and success because anger demolishes the power of knowledge and it could fully ruin a person and their personality. For example, if you studied for one of your tests, say for a long time, and then you ended up getting really mad for some reason, then you would most likely forget about most of the knowledge that you studied about. This will cause you to do bad on your schoolwork and you might not be able to achieve anything. This is why you shouldn't be angry and then you will succeed. So these are 3 verses that would help for a student's progress and success. Thank you.
I believe we have Abhinav here. Could we get him? Everyone give him a round of applause.
Hello, my name is Abhinav Raja, and this is my first year participating in this conference. First of all, I would love to thank Livermore Temple for this spectacular opportunity. While doing this, I have learned a lot about the Bhagavad Gita verses that help for students' progress and success. Once again, thank you, Livermore Temple.
Now, we're going to move on to the first place winner. The first place winner is from Sunnyvale, California, in the United States, and their topic is ancient Hindu temples in India and the rest of the world. The first place winner is Vishisht Madhavan Sriraman. Everyone give him a round of applause.
Hi, my name is Vishish Madhavan Sriraman and I live in Sunnyvale, California in the United States. And today, I'm going to talk about the ancient Hindu temples of the world. Now, before we start learning about the ancient Hindu temples of the world, it's important we understand the origins of Hinduism. Hinduism first started dating all the way back to 2300 BC in the Indus Valley, which currently presides in modern-day Pakistan. However, despite starting so many years ago, it's still currently thriving, with many people practicing Hinduism all across the world. As a result of this, many Hindu temples were constructed in as many as 39 different countries outside of India. Many of these Hindu temples are prime examples of peak Hindu craftsmanship and evolution over the centuries in all of history. This craftsmanship is a key identifiable factor within any single Hindu temple, regardless of the country of origin. In this presentation, I'll talk about some of these iconic temples, in addition to some unfamiliar Hindu temples which you may have not heard of, and explain why they're some of the most important pieces of history in the world. To begin with, let's learn about a Hindu temple that's not even within India. Now, when you think of a Hindu temple, you most likely think about some of the famous Indian temples, such as the Tirupati Balaji temple in South India, or the Badrinath temple in North India. However, we fail to realize how spread out Hinduism has become over the centuries. Given this, I can assure you, this is a temple that you'll never hear about, and it'll be a spectacle to learn about. This temple is the Sri Mahamarinam Temple in Bangkok, Thailand. Despite only being built in 1879, it's still considered one of the oldest standing Hindu temples that currently resides in non-Indian Asia. The temple itself was initiated by a man named Vaiti Paityachi, who was a Tamilian immigrant who felt lots of angst as a result of the unfair British colonial rule against India. As a result of this, he decided to emigrate to Thailand, where he'd eventually decide to form his very own temple. This temple specifically follows the Dravidian architectural style, otherwise known as the South Indian architectural design, and can be easily identified based on its Dwarpalakas, otherwise known as the guardians in front of the temple. In addition to this, it can be identified as Dravidian through the use of its tall gopuram. Many renovations were done to this temple, even until the present day, to get it to the immense size that it is at today. The temple itself was meant to represent the goddess Parvati, and as a result of these traits, it's become one of the most iconic pieces of religion in all of Thailand. When people think of Hinduism today, we often associate Hinduism with being related to India. But however, we don't realize how Hinduism has spread throughout all of history, and we have to realize that Hinduism is not necessarily synonymous with India anymore. This temple is one of the many examples of Hinduism's incredible spread throughout all of history. On the topic of ancient Hindu temples presiding in foreign countries, let's move on to an unlikely place where a very ancient Hindu temple currently presides. This country, of course, being Cambodia. Now you may be thinking, how in the world did Hinduism spread its influence all the way to such a distant country such as Cambodia? Well, the answer really is pretty simple. Through the use of trade routes in 500 AD, many traders were able to spread their influence, which became known as a phenomenon called Greater India. This term itself refers to the general influence that India was able to retain over the current area of Asia that it currently presides in. And as a result of this, they were able to spread their influence through religion, resulting in the largest religious temple ever created in world history. This temple, of course, became known as Angkor Wat, otherwise known as the City of Temples. Despite the fact that this temple had significant Indian influence, it was in fact actually commissioned by the Khmer Empire king, King Suryavarman, as a symbol of his devotion to Vishnu during the late 12th century. The temple itself still stands mighty and strong today, and can be easily identified through its Dravidian style, through the imitation of its towers, which represent the different peaks of Mount Meru, otherwise known as the Mountain of the Gods. In addition to this, it contains paintings of famous Indian epics such as the Mahabharata or the Ramayana. This temple symbolizes the influence and significance of Hindu culture. It symbolizes how large Hinduism has become through its being the largest known religious monument in the world, and is a testament to human ingenuity through architecture and religion. This is what makes the temple unique, through its sheer ability to stand the test of time while at the same time retaining its character and significance in the modern era. Now that we've talked about some of the temples that are outside of India that may not be as well known, let's return back to the main country and learn about some of the greatest temples within India. To top of our list, let's learn more about the Ranganathan Swami Temple in Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. The Ranganathan Swami Temple is considered to be the largest remaining temple in modern day India. It sits on an island between the Kaveri and Kolidam rivers. Regarding the temple's construction, it was believed to have been built by the rulers of the Western Ganga dynasty from 350 to 1000 CE, which is around the 9th century. It was meant to be a shrine devoted to a form of Vishnu known as Ranganatha. This temple itself is a South Indian temple, and it can be clearly tell based on the details of its creative and artistic designs of temple architecture, through the use of its stylized pillars in the courtyards, which was the first built stylized pillars in the Nayaka period. This temple is a glowing symbol of the impact that Southern Indian temple design has had on many temples across the world. To conclude, we've now explored all these various and unique Hindu temples, understanding their unique traits and how exactly they were influenced in their time and what they came to be. These temples are symbols and reasons why in the future they need to be preserved. They brought new architectural contributions in their varying takes on the Dravidian style, while at the same time still conforming to their origins. They're a bright, shining symbol of Hinduism's long-standing influence and endurance throughout all of history. These are the Hindu temples of not just India, but the world. Thank you.
Before we finish, I would like to thank all the participants. You've helped me learn a lot about my culture and also everyone around us. Let's have one final round of applause for everyone. Now we'll continue with the program.
Back to Manohar Garu. But before that, Shanmugh, I think I want you to be here. A big round of applause for Shanmugh. You've done a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. Manohar Garu, you can begin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shanmukhanand. It's wonderful. I was really thrilled to watch the videos. In fact, being the organizer, I myself did not watch any videos. Only the judges watched these videos and they graded each individuals. Everyone done phenomenal. I just a request to the winners or runners is that the order or the selection um, is based on many factors. So don't feel bad if you are not on the top of the list. But you all have done a wonderful job studying and preparing and presenting it. Really, it was very joyful to hear these young children learning and presenting it. Thank you all, and thank you, Shanmukhanand, for announcing the prizes. I would like to give my vote of thanks to starting with Venugaru, who is our chairman, for giving a good speech and welcoming the audience today. And I would like to thank all the speakers, of course. Wonderful speeches they have done. It was the last time I was personally on the stage, so I could not really watch live at the time. This time, being remote, I could watch everything. And it was a very good experience. Thank you, Venugaru. And Murali ji, president of the Hindu Community Cultural Center or Shiva Vishnu Temple, He's not here today. He was not feeling well. So, on his behalf, I would like to thank everyone for contributing to the successful this successful event. Mainly, Anand Gondugaru, who has emceed and who really got a very smooth flowing, and Vamshi Pulapagaru, and Yugandhar Garu for the audio visual preparations and then giving excellent technology. Though he had small hiccups in the beginning, but this is overall pretty good in terms of technology and the live streaming. And I would like to thank Bhaskar Swaminathan ji, who is the EC chair, chair for the information technology, for helping this whole event, and Ram Maganti Garu for providing the food. And I would request all people who are in the temple to really enjoy the food today, lunch. And Surya and Krishna, the managers of the temple, for their continuous support. And finally, I would like to really thanks and express my gratitude to the priests for giving a very good Ashirvachanam. And I hope you all enjoyed. And thank you very much for all attending. I would like to give it to Anand Garu for his final remarks and conclusion.
Yeah, thank you, Manohar Garu. And as part of the team here, we would like to thank you for leading this second Global Team Conference. I think the first one you started, and this is the second one. And a big round of applause for Manohar ji. With that, I think we also have the lunch going to be served here in the auditorium. So please take the lunch. But before that, I think one important thing is the number of teens that are getting involved in these temple activities is increasing, and we would highly encourage all the parents to get their kids involved in these temple activities, because the future is yours, and whatever you're learning today, I think has to be imparted to the future generations. And it's wonderful to see all the parents encouraging their kids. I hope they would continue to encourage them, and a big round of applause for the parents as well for bringing their kids and encouraging them to be part of this journey. That said, I think I also have the founders of the temple here, Katyana ji and Satya ji and HK ji. I think you all are here. If you can come here for a second, because the lunch is going to take few minutes. If you want to talk something about how this all came about, that would be very nice. So if you could come here and anyway, we are really very, very grateful for people like you all for establishing a temple 40 years back, and what a wonderful experience it is for all of us here who are been coming here and taking the best that the Bay Area has to offer. Thank you very much, and with that we'll conclude this event. Yeah, please. Yeah, HKG is also one of the judges for this event, and he's also the former chairman, president, and a great motivator himself.
Thank you, Anand. At this juncture, I would like to thank the chairman of who conducted the whole event, Manohar Mahavdi, and he has done enormous work on this, because I was one of the judges, and he gave the videos, he gave the write-ups to all, and everything is done in a very unbiased way. And he, as he said, he was not involved in the judging at all. And it's so much work he has done, I don't think I'll be able to do that, Anyway, but finally, the children, I would give them everybody the winner. And it was so hard for us actually to pick the winner, runner, second runner, third runners, and all that stuff. But we have to comply with some rules, so we have to make this decision, Anyway, next year, we want more participation, as Anand said. We want hundreds of children to come, and we will have more judges too, okay? And we want this hall to be full. And it's pathetic. It is pathetic. The only 10, 15 people are here. No, but online, even offline people could be here, So, I made the decision to come. I think I did a good thing, Anyway, hopefully we'll have more people. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad, but we need to motivate children. Man, I saw the two kids sitting here, Matra Spashasta Kaunteya. What a beautiful verse. What a beautiful verse, and Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. And, fantastic. I learned a lot. Because about the temples. I was one of the judges on temples. I never knew all these things. And it was such a great education. And I thank Manohar for picking me as a judge so that I could learn something. Okay? Thank you very much.
I think a big round of applause for Yugandhar and Vamsi, I think, and Krishna for the audio-video presentation. There's so much of work that goes into doing all this. Not many of you all know. They've been here for a couple of days here to ensure that the event gets on smoothly. In spite of that, we would have hiccups. And this is the technology, right? I mean, the internet was unstable. There's nothing that these guys can do. But we really thank both of them and Krishnaji from bottom of our hearts. A big round of applause for both of them, the three of them.
Thanks everyone.
forgot to mention his name. I think, thanks,